What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the YouTube Barber Academy. It's a big day in the wall of land, in the land of Wahl. Okay, one of the two clippers they put out was actually this all new KUNO. And if you guys haven't seen the video where we did the unboxing, if you're wondering what this comes with, this is the new Vapor Clipper brushless motor. You guys could check out that video. I just released it. However, we're gonna talk about the KUNO. And there's a lot of weird stuff going on with this clipper, and I already know there's gonna be some questions about it. So let's go ahead, let's get into it. The first thing that's gonna stand out is it's really, really small. I mean, it's tiny. It has 100 minutes of runtime, and there's no like screws or anything to actually open up this case. I'm sure I could take this apart and tear this down, but it doesn't have like the traditional screws. Normally I like to open up a clipper. I like to see how the connections are made, how the battery sits, how the how everything works, right? But in this case, I'm not actually gonna do that. Now, there's definitely, the biggest feature here is the fact that this is a removable blade. So you're gonna be able to clean up the motor behind here. This motor does feel very powerful, no doubt about it. It is also a brushless motor. But the blade itself is very strange. So if you guys remember the Andis Revite, it had a system like this, but it used to just kind of pop off. So it really, you know, it wasn't something I was able to use for very long. I'm sure one of the first questions that's going to come up with this is, can you zero gap this clipper? And, you know, I would say the answer is kind of yes. I was sort of able to do that. I loosened these two screws. I pushed this up a little bit, but it's a little weird, and I wouldn't take this apart altogether. I got a feeling this spring is probably pretty strong. It'll probably be pretty difficult to put back together. However, I will also note that this blade is unlike any of the blades Wahl's released recently. These are like slim deep tooth blades that you'll see on a lot of other clipper brands. And now it looks like Wahl, who was kind of like a leader in blade making, back in the day, I always appreciated what Wahl did. Like when it was between the Andis Masters and like the corded Wahl clippers, it was really nice to be able to just undo these two bolts, slide the blade to however you prefer it, and go and use it. But the Andis Masters had like a tab. It was a big process, and you never really got them to zero gap all that great. So, you know, Wahl in my mind was always kind of the leader with blades. Even the Oster fast feeds, I loved the fast feeds, but that blade and the way that it was in there, really difficult to zero gap. And as far as Wahl goes, that was never an issue. So I don't think this is really designed to say remove like really harsh skin lines. I think this is probably more of like a bulk removal tool. And there's also another weird feature here. It has this little click thing on the bottom. And I couldn't figure out for a second what the hell this thing did. When you have this thing clicked over here, I actually thought at first that maybe it was gonna move the blade, make it cut closer, something like that. It actually doesn't do any of that. What it does is it turns it into a click lever, and essentially you get three positions. So you got 1, 2, and then 3. This lever does have a lot of movement in it, and I don't think 3 movements would be sufficient to cut hair. You're gonna need to stop somewhere in between the clicks, which you sort of could, but I could tell that this is probably not going to be the way I'd want to work with it. So even though they added this feature, and it probably costs money to add this feature, this is a pretty expensive clipper, $299. I probably wouldn't use that feature. I would just go ahead and keep it as a floating lever so that you could use it. Now, one thing I've noticed is when I apply pressure here, because this is sort of like a fixed system, it's not going to actually close the lever. You know, some clippers, when you put these in the open position, if you push hard enough, you can actually close that clipper down. It's not like that's a big deal or anything to me. It's just something that I noticed that the way this is. It looks like this lever is one big piece all the way through here. So yeah, a lot of weird stuff going on with this. But let's go ahead, let's do a little sound test. Super quiet. Really quiet. It does feel very premium. It has the feel of like the Ergo to me. It's like very kind of ergonomic. And you know, the fact that they're sort of using the blade that's similar to the Ergo, and they got a brushless motor in here, this might actually be fun to cut with. So I personally do a lot of clipper over comb. I'm not really concerned with this being like my main fading clipper. But with the new F32 fade out, it looks like, I think this one's probably going to struggle when it comes to bulk, just because there's so many teeth in that blade. This one's not like that. This one definitely has some space to let some bulk in there and let the motor just, you know, cut it. So I'm kind of thinking that if you're going to remove a lot of bulk with this, this might actually be a good tool for that, clipper over comb, things like that. So to start off with, when you get them, they come like individually wrapped. And to be honest, I would have never guessed that these were magnetic, but these are actually a super powerful magnet here. And they snap on and they're super secure. So I don't know what it's gonna be like to try to fade with these. And the thing about it is if this is a bulk removing clipper, like if that is the idea, it only goes up to a number 4 with these guards. So, and this is definitely not something you're gonna be able to just slap a regular guard on. This is a really weird shaped blade. So this is kind of like a proprietary system here. So this only goes up to a number 4. And I use a lot of longer guards, like on clients that like want like a 5 on top or a 6 on top. Sometimes I'll actually use those guards. Most of the time this is sufficient, but you know, it only goes up to a 4. So if this is supposed to be a bulk removing clipper, maybe it was previously an animal clipper, a grooming clipper, I don't know. It actually seems like it probably would be a pretty good grooming clipper for animals if it had a little better runtime. I'm not sure, but the on-off button is right here smack dab at the top, whereas, you know, the Vapor is a lot more traditional. It turns on and off a lot like all the other ones. Also, the Kuno comes with a charging stand. It sits in there, it charges. I plugged this in for a few minutes and it already seems to be fully charged. You get some blade oil. It says it's a special blade oil, and I'm not sure why. And you get a very weird looking brush. Okay, cool. Didn't really need to reinvent the wheel on that one. But yeah, with that being said, all in all, very interesting clipper. I'm not sure if this is for everybody. I'm not even sure if this is for me, but I am kind of excited for the challenge of just trying something different. All the stuff that comes out, like it's fun to use something new. There's definitely a lot of benefits to some of the gear that's out here. But at the end of the day, like I'm not super challenged by things. And I think that this, to do like a full haircut with this would probably be a little bit of a challenge. So I am gonna try to do a whole haircut with this and we'll see, you know, how it comes out. Hopefully I don't struggle too much. This is back to school week. So, you know, if it does remove bulk, you know, you got them kids that are growing their hair out since the beginning of summer, coming in here with mops, you know, just getting them cut off. So that's all I got for you guys today. Subscribe if you're not already. Got over 800 videos to help you learn. And if you guys are interested in that other video with the Vapor, head over there. You guys can see the first impression video where we broke the whole thing down, took it all apart, show you all the internals. And yeah, let's head on over there. I'll see you there.